July did not arrive quietly. You may not have felt it yet. The first days of a new month have a quality of continuation, of ordinary rhythm persisting into a new calendar designation without much to distinguish the new from what just ended. July 1st can feel like June 31st, wearing a different name. But something changed when July began, not in the visible texture of your daily life, in the underlying current, in the specific quality of energy that has been assembling itself beneath the surface of the ordinary, and that has, with the turning of this month, reached a particular configuration, a configuration that has a very specific consequence. Someone is about to reach out, and the reaching out is going to change the shape of everything you thought July was going to be. I want to begin with the plot twist piece because the title uses that phrase and it is not chosen casually. It is the specific, accurate description of the quality of what is about to arrive. A plot twist is not simply an unexpected event. Unexpected events happen all the time, and most of them do not rise to the level of plot twist. Most unexpected events arrive, are absorbed, produce some adjustment in how things are navigating, and are eventually integrated into the ongoing story without fundamentally changing its direction. A plot twist changes the direction. It arrives with the specific quality of something that makes the story as you understood it suddenly inadequate. That requires the story to be reread from a different angle. That reveals that what you thought was happening and what was actually happening were not quite the same thing, and that the gap between those two versions, now visible, reorganizes how everything that came before it is understood and how everything that comes after it unfolds. What is arriving in July has that quality. The reaching out is going to produce a reorganization. Let me describe who is reaching out, because the reading is specific and the specificity serves you better than vagueness. This is someone you were not expecting to hear from, not someone entirely absent from your awareness, not a stranger, someone whose name exists in your interior landscape in some form, who has had a position in your life or your history or your understanding of a particular situation that has given them presence in how you think about certain things, but someone whose movement toward communication was not on any timeline you were tracking. Someone who's reaching out when it arrives will produce the specific, immediate quality of understanding that the story you have been telling yourself about this person or this situation has been incomplete. Not wrong necessarily, incomplete, missing a piece that their reaching out is going to provide. And the piece that is missing, once provided, is going to function as the plot twist, is going to be the specific reorganizing, makes everything look different piece of information or expression or acknowledgement that changes the shape of the thing. And I want to speak to the timing because July is named, and the timing of when this happens within July matters for how you understand what is producing it. This is not a coincidence. The specific moment of July, this particular configuration of where things stand in your life and in this person's life and in the situation that connects you, has been building toward this contact point for a period of time that precedes July itself. July is not creating the conditions for the reach out. July is when the conditions that have been creating themselves arrive at a sufficient completion to produce the action. The action has been building. What July provides is the threshold, the specific moment when whatever has been preventing the reach out, the hesitation, or the circumstance, or the internal process that needed to complete first finally steps aside when the remaining distance between the intention and the action closes, when whatever has been sitting in the way of the reaching has been cleared sufficiently for the reaching to happen, something cleared in the transition into July, and the clearing is producing the contact. I want to speak to what the reach out actually contains, because reaching out is a general description, and the specific content of what this communication carries is what makes it the plot twist rather than simply an unexpected message. There are 3 possible forms this takes depending on where you sit within the full range of people receiving this reading. The first form is a confession, something this person has been holding that belongs in the space between you and that has not been there, something they have been carrying privately that affects how you understand the history between you. Something that, when it arrives, makes certain things click into place that have been slightly out of alignment for a period of time without a clear explanation for the misalignment. The second form is an offer, something being extended to you that changes what is available, a door opening that was previously closed, an invitation into a territory, whether professional or relational or something else entirely, that you were not previously positioned to access, something that arrives with the specific quality of something that was always going to arrive at the right moment and that has determined this to be the right moment. The third form is a return, someone coming back, not in the way of someone who has simply been away and is resuming contact in the ordinary way of people who are in and out of each other's lives. Coming back with the specific quality of someone who has processed something in the interim, who is different from the version that left or went quiet or stepped back, who is arriving in a form that is more complete or more honest or more ready than the form that preceded the distance. For many of you, the plot twist contains elements of more than one of these. For many of you, the plot twist contains elements of more than one of these. I want to describe what each of these forms feels like as it lands, because the quality of the reception, the specific interior experience of encountering a confession or an offer or return is something you deserve to be prepared for. The confession lands with a specific quiet quality of pieces fitting together, not explosive. The specific slightly eerie quality of something clicking into place, of things that were slightly misaligned suddenly resolving into alignment, of the specific retroactive quality of understanding something you have been looking at without being able to see clearly, and in the clarity a range of emotions simultaneously, relief that you were not imagining what you were sensing, possibly sadness that it took this long, possibly something closer to anger that the concealment existed at all of it together, which is the specific emotional signature of receiving something true that should have arrived sooner. The offer lands with a forward-leaning quality, with the specific energy organizing quality of something that points in a direction and asks whether you want to move in that direction. It produces a quality of activated attention, of suddenly being oriented toward a possibility that was not previously available, of the horizon changing shape because something new has entered it. The return lands with the most complex emotional texture of the 3, because it arrives from history, from the specific, complicated, multiply-layered history between you and whoever is returning. And history means that what arrives is not clean, is accompanied by everything that preceded it, is experienced in the context of who you were then and who you are now, and how large the gap between those versions is, and what the gap means for what is possible now. The return is the most to hold. And often the most significant. Let me speak to the major quality, because the title says major plot twist, and major deserves its honest examination. Major means the story changes, not at the surface, at the level of the underlying structure, the specific foundational assumptions about how things were organized and where they were heading and what the available options were in a particular dimension of your life. Those assumptions are what major changes when something of this significance arrives. The assumptions that have been shaping your daily life in a particular territory are going to update, not all at once, not in the single immediate everything is different in an instant way of the most dramatic transformations. In the specific cascading, one thing reveals another quality of something major that works its way through the implications of itself across the days following its arrival. But the update begins the moment the reach out lands. The moment you read or hear what they have to say, something in how you understand the situation, and by extension, something in how you understand your options within the situation shifts. That shift is the major. Tell me in the comments if something is already moving in you as you receive this reading. If a specific person has arrived in your awareness, as I have been describing the nature of the reach out, if the quality of the plot twist resonates with something you have been sensing was approaching without knowing what form it would take or from which direction it would come. Tell me how July is already feeling different. I want to speak to how you receive this when it arrives, because receiving a plot twist, the literal narrative device of something that reorganizes your understanding of the story you are in, requires a particular quality of presence that is worth preparing for. Do not immediately resolve it. That is the instruction, and it is the counterintuitive one, because the instinct when something significant arrives, when something that carries implications and demands a response and requires a decision about what to do next lands in your life, is to immediately move toward resolution, to take the new information and begin the process of integrating it into a decision as quickly as possible. Resist that, not indefinitely. Not in the way of someone who is refusing to engage with what has arrived. Simply in the way of someone who understands that the full implications of something major are not visible in the first moment of its arrival, that there are layers to what this reaching out contains that will reveal themselves as you sit with it. That the best response is not the first response, but the response that comes from someone who has given themselves enough time to understand what they are actually responding to. The plot twist deserves time. Give it time. I want to speak to something about what July holds beyond this specific contact, because the reach out is the beginning of July, not the entirety of it. July has a quality of acceleration. The specific already in motion, building on the plot twist quality of a month, where something that arrives at the beginning does not simply sit in place but produces momentum. Where the reach out and your engagement with what the reach out contains begins a process that develops its own forward motion across the weeks of the month. Things do not slow down after the reach out. They pick up. The plot twist is the catalyst. What follows it is the reaction the catalyst produces. The specific unfolding, one thing leading to another quality of a situation that has been reorganized by new information and that is now moving in the direction the reorganized information points. That direction is forward, and And the forward has a quality in July that the prior chapter before the reach out arrived did not have. Because before the reach out, you were navigating with the prior version of the story. After the reach out, with the updated version, updated information produces updated movement. And updated movement in a direction that is now more accurate than the direction that was available before the plot twist is the most efficient form of forward that exists. July is going to demonstrate what efficient forward looks like. July is going to demonstrate what efficient forward looks like. I want to give you one more specific image of what the acceleration looks like so you can recognize it when you are inside it. It looks like decisions becoming easier. The specific, slightly surprising quality of choices that were previously complicated or unclear or requiring more information than was available suddenly being more navigable, not because you have become more decisive as a general quality, because the information landscape has changed, because the plot twist, by providing what was missing from the picture, has made the picture complete enough to act on rather than incomplete and therefore difficult to commit to. You are going to find yourself moving more cleanly through decisions that have been sitting in ambiguity. Not all decisions, the specific ones that were waiting for this particular missing piece. Those ones are going to feel different, easier, more obviously pointing in a direction that, with the new information present, is difficult to argue against. That ease is the acceleration showing up in the daily texture of how you are navigating, and it compounds. Each decision made cleanly from the clearer picture produces a result, and the result provides further information, and the further information makes the next decision cleaner. And the month develops this quality of each week being more in motion than the week before it, of the initial plot twist having initiated something that is still unfolding and gathering pace as it unfolds. That is July, initiated by a reach out, developed through what the reach out produced. I want to speak to what you have been doing in the period leading up to this moment, because the plot twist does not arrive in a vacuum. It arrives in the context of a specific version of your life and a specific version of yourself. You have been building whatever specific form that has taken, whatever the particular projects and the particular relationships and the particular inner work and the particular daily quality of continuing to be who you are and the way you are has looked like in this most recent chapter. Whatever the specific, largely unremarkable, nobody is watching and applauding quality of your continued development has been, it has been producing conditions. The conditions that allow the plot twist to arrive at all. That created the specific configuration of your life and your readiness and your position that makes this the right moment for this reach out to happen. That ensured that when the threshold was reached, you would be standing in the right place to receive what crosses it. Your building has been the preparation for the plot twist. Even though neither of you may have known that is what the building was for, let me describe what the first moments of receiving this communication are going to feel like. Because I think naming them in advance will help you be present for them rather than processing them from a slight distance while you are still inside the first wave of response. It is going to feel like recognition. Not necessarily immediately comfortable recognition, the specific, slightly jarring recognition of something landing that you had filed under a different category or a different probability than what just arrived. where your mental model of how things stood has to rapidly update to accommodate the reality of what you are now holding. And within the recognition, something opening, the specific quality of an opening that happens when a constraint you are navigating around is removed. When the range of the possible in a particular territory expands because the thing that was limiting it has changed its position, when you feel, perhaps before you can articulate why, that what is available to you has become larger, that feeling is accurate. What is available to you has become larger. The plot twist is opening something. As we close, I want to give you one image that I think captures the spirit of what July holds. You on an ordinary day, not doing anything remarkable. The ordinary texture of a July morning or afternoon or evening in the ordinary unremarkable quality of the daily life you have been living, going about whatever the day requires, present in whatever is in front of you, and then the reach out arrives in whatever form it takes, through whatever channel, with whatever specific words or expressions or acknowledgments or offers it contains. And the ordinary day becomes something else, not by your action, by what arrives in it. The plot twist does not require your participation to be a plot twist. It simply lands in the middle of the ordinary, and the ordinary becomes the before. And what comes next, whatever comes next, based on what arrived and what you do with it, becomes the after. You are about to cross from the before into the after in July very soon, and the after, Virgo, is considerably more interesting than the before made it look like it was going to be.